Hello Buggles managers, it's Julie with Trakstar. It's my pleasure to deliver training to you today on Trakstar. Employees have a separate recording, which of course you're welcome to listen to, but this one is for you, the managers. We have 3 agenda items today. Number 1, I'll take you to our website and show you where some additional resources are so that you can find them after the training if they're necessary. Second, I'd like to talk about your timeline for appraisals at Buggles so that you can understand how the digital appraisal workflow will look. And last, we'll log into the software and take a look at your tasks inside Trakstar and what that interface looks like and what you can expect. Okay, let's begin. First of all, Trakstar.com is our name. This is where you'll go to do your online performance appraisals. It is spelled Trakstar. There is no C, and that's important to know. So that's where you'll go. Up here at the top right, you'll find your login page. And when you log in, you will come here, and your company name won't be Promantic. It's going to be Buggles, B-U-G-G-L-E-S. You'll have your username and your password that will have been given to you by your Trakstar administrator. Okay, let's go back to the Trakstar page. Okay, here on the Trakstar page, let's look at those additional resources for you. Please notice this support link right here across the top. Let's click on it. I'll show you what's there. This won't take but a minute. First, a bank of video tutorials here at the top left will probably be your most useful area for help. If you click on these, you'll see videos that are grouped into 3 segments: the employee videos, the manager videos, and Trakstar administrator videos. The ones that will be most useful for you will be the bank of employee videos. If you're a manager, the manager videos, obviously, and the administrator ones are for 1 or 2 people that set up your system inside Trakstar and probably won't be as much use to you. Okay, let's use our back button. Below the line, you'll see another area that might be useful to you. This is a group of articles here for employees and managers. You'll see an employee quick start guide in PDF form and a manager quick start guide. They're very easy to use. If you click on them, you'll be able to see a PDF. It'll be big, beautiful, very easy for you to use. Okay, let's go back on that. All right. And below that, you'll see some static articles. Here's an article, for example, on how to take notes on an accomplishment or how to score your self-appraisal. If you click on these, you'll find some very simple instructions with anything in blue being something you're looking for in the interface. And if you click on that, you'll see a nice annotated graphic for yourself that will help you locate what you're looking for on screen. So all of those are great resources for you after today's training. Okay, now let's talk about Buggles and your scoring windows here. Let me just hide a couple windows. Perfect. All right. What you're looking at here is a representation of time. This circular pie chart starts in January at the top and goes all the way through December. And you'll notice, of course, obviously, there are 2 main areas, the blue areas and the orange areas. And these represent the digital workflow in Trakstar. So if you're an employee, you would start with a fresh blank document in January to which you and your manager would add goals, and then all the way through the end of May, you'd update those goals, take some notes on your progress, and essentially just keep up to date with what your expectations are. Then in June, something changes inside Trakstar. That same document that you've been adding goals and updating, taking notes on, that document turns into something that is scorable. And you'll see a difference between the document that you see for most of the year from January through May to the one you see in June. And the difference is Trakstar adds a rating bar, a place where you can actually score yourself and rate yourself. And that's what's different inside the scoring window. Then, starting in July, you'll have a fresh new document, and you'll go all the way through until December when, again, you'll hit another 30-day scoring window. Now, here are some Buggles specifics that are kind of important for you. You're starting this process, if you're watching this video now, you're starting it in June 2013. And your appraisals are due on July 1st. So you are entering your scoring window the day that you open Trakstar. So your first job will be inside the orange wedge. You're going to start scoring yourself. After that's done, your appraisal will be routed for approval and ultimately archived by your manager and presented to you. The fresh new document will start in July. So what I'd recommend is this. Because of when you're starting, you may not have those specific goals and notes entered. But in July, after you're done with your current appraisal and it has been scored and archived, you'll enter some goals and notes for that fresh new period. They'll be specific to you, and then you'll be able to score those come December. Okay? So that's what your timeline looks like at Buggles. And let's go ahead and log into Trakstar now, and we'll go ahead and look at the software and see what will you do. And we're going to begin with someone who is in the scoring window. Okay, we are going to log in as a fictitious manager that works at Buggles. We'll show you what the software looks like and help you through your workflow. Okay, our fictitious manager today is Nicole Kidman. Lucky Nicole, she works at Buggles. She has some things to do inside Trakstar. Number one, she has an employee that needs to have an appraisal scored. You might see that below in the work area. That's Jeffrey Rush, and she's got Kylie Minogue who needs some goals set because Kylie's appraisal isn't until December 31st. Okay, first of all, take a note of your navigation bar across the top. You might see the task list, which is highlighted in blue with that red 2 inside of it. What that is telling Nicole is she has 2 things she needs to complete inside Trakstar. Neither of those tasks should be a surprise to Nicole. Anything that's in her task list, she will have received an auto-generated email, a friendly reminder from Trakstar to accomplish that task. So she knows that those things are in here, and those are her goals. Now, she has 2 things down in the work area. Let's focus on those. Number 1, Jeffrey Rush, her employee, has an appraisal to be scored. You can see that it's due on July 1st, just as your employees' appraisals will be due as well. He's inside that orange scoring window. Now, Kylie, just for the sake of it, hers is not going to be due until December 31st. She's in the goal setting phase. So for the sake of this demo, we're going to pretend that we've already done Kylie's appraisal and given it to her, and it is time to set goals. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's begin with Jeffrey first of all. Let's go to this score appraisal and show you what you'll do inside Trakstar. First of all, when Nicole clicks on Jeffrey Rush, she gets this nice intermediate page which gives her some information on what she needs to do in Trakstar. She'll go top to bottom. The first thing she's going to do is score the appraisal. This is the first thing, then she'll compare. She'll put the 2 pieces together on a nice weave of a report, ultimately archive, and she'll get a fresh new document to which she will add new goals for Jeffrey. Okay, here's what she can tell by looking at this. First of all, we can see that Jeffrey has completed his self-appraisal. That's brilliant. She is now ready to score his appraisal. So let's do it. We'll go to Score Appraisal, and this is your first look at what a form looks like inside Trakstar. First of all, on the first 2/3 of the screen, you can see that this is the semi-annual appraisal for Jeffrey Rush. Here's his picture. Here's the window of time for which this appraisal applies. On the first 2/3, this is the work area. You'll notice this is the main form in here. And on the right-hand side, that last third is actually the performance appraisal summary outline. Now, let's just look here. We can look for these blue links. The bright blue links are always active places inside Trakstar. We can read some more there. What we'll see here is the position description for an educator assistant. That happens to be what Jeffrey is at Buggles. And we'll go ahead and hide that and read less. Now, of course, the job right now for you as a manager, or for, in this case, Nicole Kidman, as we act as her, is to rate Jeffrey on the elements for which he is responsible. So let's begin. Here across the top, we can see that educational programming and practice is the very first section inside Trakstar. It's in this gray area, and we can see that in the summary outline here. This educational programming and practice is the first section, and there are 2 elements below that. Anything that sticks out is a section header, and anything that is indented is an element inside the section. So even though we can't see it on the screen, you can see that children's health and safety would be the next section with 2 elements inside that. Physical environment is another section, and you can see those elements. And as we go down, you'll be able to see the pieces of this appraisal. Let's just start with educational programming and practice. We can see the first element is educational programming. We can see the definition for what that means right here. And then below that, we see the rating bar. And when we hover on it, something magical happens. We're able to see how Jeffrey scored himself. Now, this is useful to you because it gives you an idea as a manager of what Jeffrey may be thinking about his performance. And we can see that he perceives himself as effective in this area. If we click on not effective, we'll be able to see a definition of what that looks like. The employee is not effective in their contribution to educational programs. Versus exceptional, it is leveled differently. Indicates that a service demonstrates excellence and is recognized as a sector leader. So these are leveled for your convenience, so you can read those and decide which one you perceive as the right thing. Let's go ahead and rate Jeffrey as highly effective there. Notice what's happening in the summary outline. Those ratings are showing up on the side, indicating that things are done. Now, when we come down here and add a comment, we can go ahead and do that and say, good job, Jeffrey, with a G. If we like, we can certainly attach a file, a PDF, a Word doc, whatever you like there. You can add that to substantiate if you choose, and of course add that comment when you're done. And now we can see that Nicole has made a comment about Jeffrey's performance there. Let's go down to child development. This one looks a little different because we've got a comment there from Jeffrey. When we hover, again, we can see how Jeffrey perceives his performance here. We can go ahead and rate him, and we can see any comments that Jeffrey may have made that may assist us in rating him. Comments are not required by either you or by Jeffrey. However, we do recommend them. So if you have something you want to say, please go ahead and do that. Ratings are automatically saved by Trakstar. You must add this comment if you do add some text down here. So go ahead and do that if you decide to add text. We'll go ahead and leave that one alone. Here is the, let's continue on. Here's the section break. You can notice this white line here indicates that we are moving on to the next section, which is children's health and safety. This is the next section that Nicole needs to rate Jeffrey on. Again, there's some more comments from him. If they're useful to you, go ahead and read them. And you can add your own comments, or we can, acting as Nicole. You get the idea, though. You hover, see what your employee is perceiving about his or her performance. Go ahead and rate it and add a comment if you like. Adding comment now. Perfect. Oops. Got a couple of spaces in there, but you get the idea. Okay, we'll add that comment. Now, I won't read through everything on this form for you. I'll let you take your time and look through it. I'm guessing that many of these elements you'll be familiar with. You may have had this in another form that wasn't as digital until now. But this is a form that you can go ahead and read, go through, rate, which I'm going to do very quickly. I won't go slow enough for us to read that. I'm just going to go ahead and rate, and we're going to choose highly effective on all of these and wrap it up. And that's your job as a manager, actually, to read it a little more carefully than obviously I'm doing, and rate your employee as you see. Now, in the end, what's important for you to know is the employee's perception of his or her performance, while important. The ultimate measure is yours at the end, so whatever your scores are the ones that stick. It's nice to see Jeffrey's, that's a nice to have, but Trakstar doesn't average your scores in Jeffrey's or Nicole's and Jeffrey's, so to speak. It's only going to take yours. So they will both be recorded, but yours is the score that matters. Okay, in the end, summary comments are there. You'll be able to make any final comments that you would like. Good job this year. All right, we'll add that comment. One thing you will see, again, you're going to see Jeffrey's scores, and you'll see your scores next to his. Remember, yours are the ones that count. That's why they're in this lightly shaded gray box here, and we are done. You might look over here on the side just to make sure if you're not done, you might see some dashes here along the side. We don't have any dashes. All of our elements are scored, so let's return to the workshop. Okay, now we're back at that intermediate page. Here's what you can see. We, you, us, Nicole, we are done scoring Jeffrey. Jeffrey is done scoring himself. We'll go ahead and compare scores. We can see these on a weave. And the weave is the place where you see your scores and Jeffrey's side by side. You'll see them broken down into sections. Here's the first section, educational programming and practice. We'll see Nicole's scores for Jeffrey. Hers are in the blue. Those are the ones that are real important. And Jeffrey's are the really also very important, nice to haves. Jeffrey's scores, and you can see them next to one another, educational programming. Here's how Nicole rated Jeffrey. Here's how Jeffrey rated himself. And we can go ahead and look at those comments if we want. So this is a nice page. Okay, let's point out one more thing that's important on all Trakstar pages. If you want to make a printout of this, if it's important to you, please use our print button here. It will render your page nicely. If you do a file print, it won't come out as nicely. So always look for these. They're very helpful. Okay, I'm going to use this breadcrumb trail right here to go back to our main page. We've compared scores. At this point, if we want, we can archive the appraisal. I'm going to do that. That's what you'll do too. And this is a super important step. So perk up your ears, super important. You've got to do it. If you don't, you won't have a fresh new document for Jeffrey on which you can add his goals for the next appraisal period. So let's go ahead and archive it. Now, this is another important screen. If you have taken the time, and I know you haven't yet because your first time to log into Trakstar, you probably won't have that goal area populated at all. But after you're done with your next appraisal, the second one, you will have added goals. You can choose to not carry those forward or carry them forward. And I'm guessing you'll probably usually choose to carry things forward because goals don't always start and stop as an appraisal starts and stops. You may just want to carry them forward and make some adjustments to that goal for the next appraisal period, especially if it's lasted longer than your 6-month window. For this, for the sake of today, we're going to go ahead and click Do Not Carry Forward. We had some sample goals in there, and I want to show you what your document will look like when you start fresh. So let's go ahead and not carry those forward and archive it, and we'll move on to the next phase of this appraisal. Okay. This one's been archived. What's important to know is the act of archiving does make this digitally visible to your employee. So if your employee needs to see this, go ahead and click archive. If you wish to present it to them personally, go ahead and print a copy first. Okay, back on our task list, notice what's happened. Jeffrey is now in the goal setting phase. That happened because we archived the appraisal, and that's a good thing. It means we have a fresh new document on which we can add goals for Jeffrey, and it's also meaning that Jeffrey has a new task in his task list, inviting him to set goals for himself, just as your employees will. So archiving, again, super important. Okay, let's set some goals for Kylie, as we promised. We'll do that by clicking Set Goals right here, and we'll come to the form that you are already familiar with. The biggest difference on this form is that there are no rating bars, and that's natural. You want that at the beginning of a phase. It's not time to rate. It's time to add new goals if we want to, update ones that we may have carried forward, and get that appraisal ready so that by the time the scoring window opens for the next appraisal, we have some new things in there. Okay, take a look at our form here. You are familiar with it. Over here on the right-hand side, I'd just like to point out one thing. Notice there are goals in the section here. There is one new goal already in there. If you see goals inside the appraisal when you arrive, that might mean that your employee has been proactive and has added some goals for himself or herself that you can review. And in this case, Kylie has done that. That's why it says write a new song in there. Okay, perfect. Let's add a goal for Kylie. Remember, we are acting as Nicole. Let's add a goal. And we'll go ahead and create a new goal. And maybe that new goal is to, let's see, go on concert tour. Yep, she needs to do that. Okay, copy, and we'll paste that in there. perfect. We'll save the goal. Trakstar is going to force us to put it in the right section. That's a beautiful thing. We'll insert that goal here. And now notice here's the goal. First of all, here's the write a new song. We noticed that that was added by Kylie. And here's go on a concert tour. That was added by Nicole. Perfect. Remember, we can add those measurements if we like. If we click on add a measurement, we can get really specific about what that concert tour might look like for Kylie. Maybe she's 50% of the way done. The status is on target. You get to pick these, of course. We'll choose, she'll start that task now, and she'll be done maybe by April of next year. So that's going to be a nice long concert tour for her. We'll save that. Maybe part of her tasks might be to book a venue, maybe multiple venues. Yep, that's a part of one of her tasks. Okay. Another thing might be to get a fireworks team. You know how concerts always have fireworks. That's probably not what they're called. Pyrotechnic team, I bet. Get a fireworks team so that she can have something special there. And maybe, update her website. Yep, update the website with concert info. Obviously, she has a team of people to do this, but for the sake of Trakstar, we're going to go ahead and say she's got to do all these things herself. Kylie does. Okay, perfect. We've got a tour here that was added by Nicole. We've got the write a new song that was added by Kylie. If you see a goal that was added by your employee and you want to update it or add to it, you're welcome to do so, and the employee can do that too. It's a participatory experience. The way to do that, remember these blue hot links? We'll click on that, and we can say that we can give her a little more time on that. Wow, Kylie, that's an aggressive goal. Let's let you get that done by November. And maybe we'll add something to it, which could be do a catchy video with the song. Okay, so she's got to do something like that. Perfect. Okay, oops, I didn't save that. Do a catchy new video. We'll add that to our list. Perfect. Okay, these have been updated. That's how you will add goals. That's how you can update them as well if you choose. You can edit weights. This is kind of important. Let me go ahead and refresh my browser. Sometimes you need to do that to see those. Notice these goals here when we look at them. We've got two goals. Write a new song and go on a concert tour. They're both worth the same thing. Honestly, this concert tour is kind of a huge deal. That might be worth a little bit more than that new song. We can edit the weights if we want. When you click on that, you'll be presented with a new window, and anything that you are able to edit, you'll see in a white box here. So maybe that's worth 25% of the overall total, and the concert tour is worth 75%. You're welcome to update those if you want to indicate that one goal is maybe more important than another, and when you're done, of course, save that. So now you'll notice the percentage changes are a little bit different. The concert tour is worth 75%, and the write a new song is worth 25%. Now, the last thing I might point out, if you need to edit these goals, you can click on this, and that will let you edit that goal. We don't want to actually make any edits there. Well, go ahead and save it. And the other thing you can do, if you decide to get rid of a goal and it's no longer relevant, go ahead and remove it. And you can remove your measurements this way. Okay, that's pretty much what you're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the task list and just point out that what you can do at this point is help your employee, have dialogues with them about those goals, periodically go in and update. You can certainly take some notes on your employees throughout the year. Pick the person on whom you wish to take a note. As long as they're in that goal setting stage, you can take the notes. Otherwise, they're comments inside the appraisal. Go ahead and take a note, and the way that you do that is pick something where it may be relevant, like adding a note on educational programming. That may be something you want to do. You can choose to keep that private if it's something you wish for only your eyes to see, or make it public, which means that in this case, Kylie could see the note that we've added. If there isn't a logical place to attach your note, it's no big deal. Go ahead and go down to the bottom of the appraisal. There is a general notes section if you want to take something general. we highly encourage you and your employees to document and take notes throughout the year. It will make the appraisal process a breeze every 6 months. So you'll be reminded by Trakstar with emails, and we encourage you to go ahead and do that. Okay, that's really all for today. Good luck. I hope you're very successful. I hope this process certainly helps keep you on track and makes performance appraising a nice experience for you. Thanks so much.
So to recap today's presentation, performance appraisals and probationary reviews fall in an employee's work performance cycle in the review stage. All employees' performance appraisals and probationary reviews are now to be completed within Trakstar between an employee and their manager. Semi and annual reviews are to be completed within the months of June and December, which is highlighted in orange in this graph. These reviews are due to be completed at the beginning of the month and are due at the end of the month. Probationary reviews are completed at the end of the first 3 months of employment from commencement with the company or due to a change of position. During the entire year, Trakstar can be used to set goals and to add notes. This falls in the manage phase of the employee's work performance cycle. This is highlighted in the blue section of the graph. This can include attaching and uploading any applicable file notes. We will now take you through a demonstration on how to invite multi-rater feedback.
Good day, Julie with Trakstar. You are a manager. One of your employees' appraisals just went into scoring mode, and you need to invite multi-raters to provide feedback to you. I'll show you how. We'll be Manager Big Bird today. You can see the list of direct reports here, and only one of these employees is in the phase to invite multi-raters, and that happens to be Cookie. Notice Justin and Eleanor, we've already invited and received feedback. They're in routing mode, and Gingerbread Man's appraisal isn't even scoreable yet, so Cookie's our person today, or our Muppet. Let's click on him and we'll talk about what to do next. Okay, these are the steps that we need to complete as a manager in order to finish Cookie's appraisal, starting with managing multi-rater feedback. You'll notice the score appraisal area is lit up. We can see that Cookie has completed his self-appraisal. We could proceed without multi-rater feedback, but we won't. Let's start with the top button. All right, the first thing we'll do is select our multi-raters. Let's pick one. Let's pick Justin, and let's pick Dorothy. Let's pick one more. You can pick any one you want above or below Cookie. There's no limit to the number you can pick, and you can pick above or below on the org chart. If you wish to even add an outside respondent, maybe there's a customer or someone that you'd like some additional feedback from, that's your first choice. You can do that too. And if you do, type in their first name, their last name, and their email, and you can add them to the group. We won't do that today. I'll remove that, but you'll know how if you want. Your next set of choices is to choose the elements you wish to include in the multi-rater review. This is what these people, Justin, Dorothy, and Judy, are going to see when they provide feedback on Cookie. If you want them to provide feedback on core values, leave that checked, and if you don't, you can uncheck them one by one or as a section. It's up to you. And the same is true with goals. If you want them to provide feedback on all of the goals, some or a portion of them, just check them as appropriate. When we're done, we'll save the multi-raters, and invitations are sent out. Now we can see that invitations have been sent to Justin, Dorothy, and Judy, and we're waiting on them. Once your multi-raters have had a few days to respond, their feedback will come in various stages. Let's see how that looks. Here you can see Justin hasn't responded at all. Maybe he's on tour and won't get around to it. You can do two things. You may remind him or you can remove him. Either one is okay. Looks like Dorothy's completed the request. We can view her feedback, or we can remove it too if for whatever reason it's not something we wish to have included, although she did respond. And Judy Jungle has started providing feedback, although she hasn't sent it along to us yet. This is here to let you know that Judy got the request and she has begun providing feedback, but she hasn't completed that yet, and we won't be able to see it until she formally sends it to us. We can again remind her or remove her. It's not too late to add another. You can always add another multi-rater if you wish at any time. Let's add Peter Rabbit. And when we're done, we have to save our multi-raters again to get Peter to come up in the window. And there we go. A new request just went out to Peter. You should be notified by email as each of your multi-raters provides and completes their feedback.
We will now take you through a demonstration on how to request anonymous multi-rater feedback.
Good day, Julie with Trakstar. You are a manager and one of your employees' appraisals is in scoring mode, and you're going to ask for some multi-rater feedback, and you want that feedback to come in anonymously. Let's see how to do it. Okay, we'll be Manager Big Bird today, and you can see in the list of direct reports that only one of these appraisals is in the time in which we might ask for some feedback, and that's Cookie. He's in a scoring mode. Notice Justin's appraisal is already being routed, Eleanor's is the same, and Gingerbread Man's appraisal isn't even in scoring mode yet. We're still in goal setting mode. So Cookie will be our Muppet today. Let's click on his appraisal. And starting from top to bottom, these are the steps we'll take to complete his appraisal, starting with multi-rater feedback. And today that's what we're going to learn, is how to request that feedback and make it anonymous. So let's go ahead and start there. Okay, from the pull-down menu, select your multi-raters, and let's pick Justin as one, and let's pick Dorothy as another, and let's pick Sienna Star as our last one. Now, when we've picked these three, we know who we've picked. And of course, you must know who you're picking so that you're selecting someone that knows Cookie in some capacity. You can choose the elements on which these people will provide feedback. If you want them to provide feedback on all of the core values, leave them checked. If you don't, you can uncheck them as a section or individually if you like. And the same is true with the goals. And down here below, you may have seen this. This is check to make all feedback anonymous. This option cannot be changed after multi-rater feedback has been submitted. So once you decide that you want the feedback from these people to come in anonymously, you're not able to then reveal. Otherwise, it wouldn't be anonymous. So let's go ahead and check that to make that feedback come in anonymously, and we'll save the multi-raters. Notice that we have requests that went out to each of those people, and the request in email said, please provide anonymous feedback, so they'll know that their feedback will be anonymous, and when it comes in, we won't know whose feedback belongs to whom. So let's see how that looks once the feedback comes in. All right, our anonymous multi-raters have had some time and feedback has started to come in. Let's see how that looks. We'll come back here. And by the way, you should have received some emails letting you know that some of this feedback has been completed. You can see the spaces we have for our 3 anonymous reviewers. 2 of them are finished. 1 of them began but hasn't yet completed or sent that feedback to us. We can go ahead and remove this feedback. We can also re-request it if there's something in there that is written in such a way that we need it rephrased. We can send this back to that anonymous person. We're not going to know who we're sending it back to, but we can re-request it. For this person, we can remind them or remove them, and the same is true here. You may also add another person if you wish. It's not too late to add a 4th person if we want. We could add, and hopefully you'll remember the people you invited at some point. I'm just going to say Billy Bounce. If we do add Billy to our group, we do need to resave that, and then his feedback is going to come in, and it will be anonymous when it comes in too. And that's how you request anonymous multi-rater feedback.
We will now take you through a demonstration on how to see an employee's past performance appraisal.
Good day, Julie with Trakstar. You are a manager and you'd like to see an employee's performance history. I'll show you 2 ways to do that. Okay, first we're logged in as Manager Big Bird today, and let's look at our direct reports area and pick someone that we want to see a history on, and let's pick Justin Bieber. If we want to see his history, we can click here and go to his profile. And when we're here on Justin's profile, we'll see some basic information on him at the top, and below that we can scroll and see any of his past, present, or actually in this case future appraisals. The present and the future appraisals you'll see here in the light gray. Those have dates ahead of where we're at. The archived appraisals are in dark gray, and you can see them labeled as such, as archived. You can see the score, the period for which it was applicable, and of course the dates on the left-hand side. If you wish to drill down into any of these, you can click on them, and that's going to take you back, and you can look at the employee's history there. Okay, a second way to do this is to go to your Reports tab, and let's pick the Performance History Report. And notice three things here. I'm looking at the Performance History Report. I'm looking at all archived appraisals. This is going to show me all archived appraisals. There are two other defaults. Only things archived in the last 12 months, which won't show you much history, and those that are in an active scoring mode, which will only show you exactly what's happening in this minute if it's in scoring mode. And I do want to go to archive. This is going to show me history. And we're going to group our documents, in this case by employee. This is going to show us an employee's history. So on the left-hand side of our graph, we can see scores going from 0 all the way up to 5, and across the bottom we can see the time frame for these appraisals, starting several years ago and coming up until now. So you can see performance history over time. So if we hover here, let's just scroll here. So if we hover on this one, for example, we can see that this is Cookie Monster, and he is on an upward trend. Look, in 2009, here was his score, and when we hover on that dot, by the way, we'll get to the exact appraisal that made up that score, and we can actually go directly to that link if we want. And at that time, he actually reported to manager Beyonce, and now when we come here, we can see, oops, he went down a little bit and up. These people, same thing. Here's Harry Foozer, a little bit of a squiggly line there, kind of on a downward trend, sadly, for Harry. And here, if we click on Mac, we can see he's on an upward trend. Who's this employee? Eleanor. She's on a big upward trend. And so is Gingerbread Man. They're doing a good job.